plays other games. This week we are doing the Magic Circle, and we are joined by the creators of the game. Actually, before we get started, why don't we go around and just introduce ourselves. Let me pass the mic around over here.
Hi, I'm Tim Stelmach. I was one of the designers of System Shock back in the day, the relevance of which will become apparent as we get a little bit farther into the Magic Circle. I'm currently in a lead design role on OtherSide's upcoming game, Underworld Descendant.
Hi, I'm Paul Nerath. I'm the founder of OtherSide.
I'm Joe Fielder. I'm design director over on Underworld Descendants and former co-worker of the guys over at Magic Circle.
And I'm Will Texera. I'm from OtherSide. I'm one of the engineers working on Underworld Descendants. Oh, and I'll be driving today.
Yeah, Will always drives. This is Chris. I'm the senior producer at OtherSide. I'm usually your host, but we're going to give it to Joe from now on because he likes to do these things. And yeah, so here we go.
Cool. If you guys want to...
Oh boy, we just lost your audio. That's amazing timing. We can't hear you anymore.
What?
You're super muffled.
Can you guys do your
there
introductions?
And we're back. It would have been pretty good, though, if the creators of Magic Circle would just silence for 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, so you want us to introduce? I'll start. This is Stephen Alexander. I was the art guy on the Magic Circle. I used to be at Irrational, where I worked on BioShock and BioShock Infinite, and then started this company with Jordan and now Kane, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Kane. I'm code guy on Magic Circle. Most previously before that, I was the AI core architect on Dishonored, and before that, worked on various games. Maybe the ones that are known are Thief, Deadly Shadows, and Deus Ex Invisible War.
I'm Jordan Thomas, sort of writing and some design on Magic Circle, and most recently consulted on South Park, and before that, all the BioShocks, Thief, Deadly Shadows, stuff like that. And fair warning, I may ask some of you to sign my chest.
Great. Well, first off, congratulations on the game.
You're back to very quiet, guys. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, we can't. Oh.
I heard a microphone rustle.
Yeah, but we can't hear any voices.
All right, it wouldn't be what it is without audio problems at the beginning of the...
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Now,
Now you're back.
We're back?
Perfect.
it's all part of the plan.
That's right. All right. Yeah, what were we... All right, here we're jumping right in, I think.
All right.
Oh, yeah. And congratulations on the release of the game.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
guys.
This is today the official... I lost track because I had it a couple of days early to prepare for this show. But.
You know, we actually launched yesterday, but
Yesterday?
that's good because that means that we don't have to be freaking out about whether the launch is collapsing while we're here on the stream.
Good point. All right. And we're in.
Yeah, it's like you're loading the last save, which is cool.
Somebody's pressing buttons.
Yeah.
Right. Why is this rock following you, Will? Oh, because you can edit creatures' behaviors.
Oh, it looks like our view of the stream must be about.
You guys are going to be seeing things around the same times as our audience will, which is a delay of what, 10 seconds or so.
Okay.
Something like that. So
That
just
will no doubt lead to some emergent comedy.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys can just give a little intro to the game and you know what's happened so far leading up to this.
Sure. So in the Magic Circle, you take on the role of the hero of an unfinished fantasy world, and you have been waiting for 20 years for the developers of the game, the fictional developers of the game, who are somewhat less competent than us. We'll let you guys judge how we measure up. But the idea is that you get tired of waiting for them, and you wander off to go either sort of fix the game from the inside or bring it to some other fate. And you do so by editing objects and creatures in the world and sort of slowly stealing the tools of game design from the designers as they fly around making terrible decisions in real time. And what's happened up till now is the player has met this sort of mysterious voice called the Old Pro, who is the voice of Stephen Russell, who formerly worked on the Thief series, Skyrim, etc. He's the voice of Garrett. And he is guiding you towards this kind of stealing of power from the so-called gods. That's what he calls them. And you have actually managed to find your way all the way through both a sort of black and white fantasy world and also the previous version of the game, a kind of sci-fi aesthetic that we'll get into, I'm sure, quite soon.
In fact, I think we see one of the entrances to that world fast approaching here.
Yes.
And this particularly for me was rather jarring when I first got here. A lot of the visual cues are very, very familiar.
Yeah, that was certainly not an accident.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. No, I'm reminded of Austin Grossman had an exchange with you guys on Twitter about this as well, and there's a lot about this game that reminds me of his novel You, which is all about the game development process and has a lot of references back to his experiences at Looking Glass and such. So
yes, that fairly ringing endorsement from him has one of us, I won't say which one, potentially still tingling.
All right. Will, what are you trying to achieve?
I'm not sure.
Exactly.
All right. So I know you guys are a little bit behind the feed, but if you can talk through a little bit of what we're seeing.
Sure. Yeah. So what you
did a lot
of the work on this.
Yeah. Well, this is he's just discovered a new creature called Cerebra, which has an ability which we are now on the stream seeing in action, which you don't really know what it does yet, but you can kind of infer, you can try to infer anyway from that exchange between the brain and that corpse that it looks like it transferred some data between them. So the puzzle is sort of about like how you can then get that ability and bend it to your purposes for your own plans, really. It's not a solution to any one puzzle, but can be used in a bunch of different ones if you choose to.
And behaviors, sort of powers and abilities that individual creatures have work kind of like inventory items in this game, and you can hot swap them. We think of it like Lego pieces, as abused as that metaphor has become. We think of them like Lego pieces moving between the creatures. And so a lot of the puzzle rewards you with a unique one, and this is one such. Uh-oh.
All right.
All right.
So Will was not able to get into that space, but he did have a follower that was able to fit through.
Yep. The follower looks like it is now swapping with the flamer, and the flamer is going to get and he trapped them.
Yep. All sorts of chaos is breaking loose. Yes, but yeah, that got Cerebra's brain out into a creature that he could actually reach. So
yeah.
Yep. And now his reward is Mind Swap.
Yeah, which is one of the most bizarre and advanced sort of behaviors in the game. It can be really powerful, but it's kind of tough to wrap your head around, so to speak.
Yeah, it's actually in a lot of ways the most player-like of the attacks that creatures have in the game.
In what sense? So
well, in the fact that it sort of can kind of basically allow you to make remote edits. It's one of the few ways in the game to do that if you figure out how to use it.
So I wonder if you guys could elaborate a little bit on the mechanics of editing creatures, because we kind of jumped into that pretty abruptly at the start of the episode here, and I bet.
And you want to describe like what the player does?
Yeah. So for those who may have developed games, you probably had access to an editor, and within the editor you had probably a game sys or something where there was just a bag of properties and stuff, and this was how you made sure you could set what the creatures were capable of and who they would hate and all this. Basically, this is that same kind of system except exposed to the player. And so under the hood, it is the same underlying architecture, and just a little extra just to give the player the interface to kind of access that as well.
And the core idea is that there are many sort of puzzles. I mean, that's the only word we can really use for them in the game. That obstacles that you encounter, and different combinations of abilities in different creatures can be used to overcome those obstacles. And you have an ultimate goal, just a large goal that can be achieved a lot of different ways, which is involved with the Sky Bastard, which since you had left and come back, you might not even remember that was your current overarching goal, is to ghost the Sky Bastard and get inside it. And when you start, you definitely don't have the behaviors and pieces that you need. So the game is sort of about exploring the world, solving various puzzles by recombining abilities to get the ones that make sense to you to solve that big puzzle.
And that's in a lot of ways where we kind of inherit from the design foundation that you guys were involved with. The notion that every challenge in the game is kind of an open-ended exercise in creative problem solving. Our big constraint as a small indie shop is that we needed to we love immersive sims, which is what people seem to call them so dearly, but we needed to focus on something that was very novel and had very clear boundaries. And so we don't really have the combat fallback in this game. The players' combat powers have been stripped by the representation of the game developers, which is called the Sky Bastard. Mm-hmm. And so you have to sort of manipulate creatures and objects in the world like a game designer would, instead of fighting them. So that's kind of our answer to puzzles, which we would probably be terrible at designing in the traditional lock and key sense.
Yeah, one of the things I like to tell people is if you imagine the standard game where you do have a sword in your hand or a gun in your hand, and take that away, but instead replace your abilities with game designer abilities, that's kind of the heart of what this game is.
Sure. And I'm actually so for a little bit more background, people might have been able to see there was a shot of the Sky Bastard in the distance, and that's the fundamental problem of this section of the game is that your objective is far out of reach. On this sort of like floating island area, and you have to collect the abilities from various creatures that you can put together into some kind of solution for reaching and killing that character. I know what my solution to that was, and it tickled me to no end. But I'm intensely curious what some of the other solutions are that people might have come up with. So
yeah,
I really want to.
There are a lot of crazy ones. Some of them that we always said we wanted to be surprised by what people came up with. And that actually did happen in early access, to the point where we kind of went back and sort of built, some better support for some of those wild ways that people went about it.
Yeah, more than a few of, oh my god, I did not know you could do that kind of solution.
That is great. And people who've listened to our previous OtherSide Plays Other Games episodes will recognize that as a theme that comes up a lot when we talk about our philosophy of game design and our goals for Underworld Ascendant in particular. The opportunity for the exercise of creativity on the player's part, this notion of tools and situations more so than like capital P puzzles that have a prescribed solution. All of that is very near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah, I mean that we are all sort of eager to see some of the first gameplay for exactly that reason. It's going to be wonderful to play one of those that we had nothing to do with.
I know how you feel. Yes. All right, so let's see. You've got the doorbot. I know there's. I forget what's. Yes, I remember what's in this area, but I won't spoil it.
Yeah.
If I can,
this is another one of the. If he goes the right way, we'll see.
Cool. If I can cut in real quick and just say, I want to ask you guys, how did you start thinking about the game? Did it come from a story place? Did it come from gameplay systems, or what were the origins?
Go ahead. Okay. Well, we had we'd had a belly full of grimdark. Is sort of what it started with. We worked for some of us like 10+ years on very very sort of. Pitch black and noir-y kind of settings, which took themselves 100% seriously, and so Stephen and I were the first two involved, and I love that name, and we we first started talking about a game set on a